Today, we're talking about networking and why it is the #1 superpower for any teen to tap into. That's right, it's not a power you need to develop. It's a power you already have, you just need to act on. In this video, I want to convince you to be the superhero that you already are. So, networking. It used to be said, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But in a wildly connected digital age, I think we're undergoing a major change in what networking means. Increasingly, it's not who you know, but who you are and how you connect. Now, if you're a teen trying to land great jobs and make an impact on the world, network with that subscribe button if you want to hear more messages from one guy who genuinely believes in you. In this video, I'm going to absolutely convince you that you, a high school student or even a college student, do have a legitimate superpower that you don't even know about. Now, I am 34, but even I've been able to use this simple superpower to land interviews with nearly any professor or business owner that I've wanted to talk to. I have met personal heroes, won awards, and won multiple high-paying jobs just by tapping into this superpower. But trust me, for someone much younger than me, embracing this superpower goes so much farther. Now, before I convince you that you are really a superhero in disguise, let me first tell you why the idea of who you know is dying. Let me oversimplify things greatly. Networking is making connections to use someone's power. This power comes in many forms: time, money, gatekeeping, or granting positions like a job offer. Ideally, this is a two-way street. Both parties in the networking relationship end up winning. Take the example of someone trying to find a job. Let's say you're reaching out to Abigail, who has an apple picking job available. If it's a two-way street, you both get something. You get Abigail's money, and Abigail gets her apples picked. In this situation, she has power. Because while she only has one job to offer, there are 20 people in line ready to pick those apples. So, she is choosing who gets to do that one job. That choosing gives her power. And networking with her helps you to use that power. Now, it's still a win-win. She'll win whichever expert apple picker gets that job. But only one of those job applicants will win. Now, there's different ways for Abigail to pick who she picks for the picker job. Maybe she gets a stack of fruity resumes. Maybe she does some phone interviews with the prospective pickers. But one huge leg up will be someone who knows Abigail. Maybe a family friend, someone from church or school, or just some other common connection from the neighborhood. And once upon a time, that was just how you got a job. In fact, that's still how people get jobs. Having a referral or a connection will vastly improve your chances of getting a job. But things have changed. Back to the apples. What if alongside the 20 applications, 3 of which had referrals, she got one email? Which is weird, because Abigail didn't list her email on the job posting. Yet, there it is. The subject line seems impressive. She opens it. And inside is a convincing little pitch. Hi, Abigail. I spent last summer picking acorns. Pictures attached. I'm 6'3", not a job requirement, but I promise it'll help. And I even have a passion for apples. I've been baking apple pies for 2 years and think yours are some of the very best apples in town. I'd love an opportunity to help you with your apple crop. Sincerely, Bobby. What if Abigail got this email? What does that do to Bobby's chances of landing the job? It might not beat out the best resume or the strongest personal connection, but it just might. And consider this. It took Bobby all of 5 minutes to find her email address, write her email, and deliver this punchy value proposition directly into Abigail's inbox. Bobby can write, say, 10 of these messages every day. Some of the jobs he's applying to maybe only have 5 or 10 people actually applying. Some of these applicants to these jobs have no referrals. And Bobby doesn't have to go to cocktail parties. He doesn't have to be an old friend of Abigail's. He doesn't have to join a fancy church or go to a special school. All he needs is targeted digital networking. In this example, Bobby uses 2 things: an email address and an email. But consider the digital tools that you have available to you: email, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, AI writing, research, and image generation. This is to say nothing of phone calls, handwritten letters, personal visits, and of course, the connections you might actually have from friends and family. When combined creatively, you can see why how you connect is the new who you know. But there's a second part, who you are. Because when you connect this way, it's important to provide genuine value. Bobby is 6'3". He does bake apple pies, and he did spend last summer picking acorns. Now, this whole example was about finding a job, but the same principle applies to booking clients or landing internships or even getting informational interviews. When applied at scale, being the right person and connecting in the right way beats out personal connections in the modern digital world. One small caveat: this is true in America. Some countries wildly over-index personal connections, and your cold email out of the blue means nothing. For example, I landed a modeling gig in China several years ago, competing against an actual model. As you can tell from the pictures, I was not an actual model. The actual model didn't drink at dinner, because drinking is bad for your skin, which is important to look good and healthy if you are an actual model. You'd think the actual modeling skills would be the most important, but I went shot for shot with the company's boss on his bottle of baijiu. So he liked me more, and so I won the gig. In China, the key to success may be degenerate alcoholism and certainly personal connections. But in the US at least, skilled digital networking will get you very far. Okay, it's time to deliver on my promise. Why networking is your superpower as a teen. I'll give you 3 reasons. By the end, you will be absolutely convinced to dive headfirst into the networking pool. And reason number 3 really ties the first 2 together. Reason number 1, that networking is your teenage superpower: compound interest. You've probably heard of compound interest in the context of saving for your retirement. The idea is, given enough time, your money can grow to several times its initial value. For example, over 40 years at a modest 5% interest, $100 can grow into $700. By utilizing the power of time, you can make your money grow massively. But the same applies to your network. If you can make a solid connection with one new person in your field each month, your network can reach hundreds of people over the course of a decade. Add the effects of referrals and invitations, and that number can grow to thousands. But by harnessing the power of social media and emails, that number can grow to hundreds of thousands or even millions of people. But the main way to make your network grow? Time. And as a teenager, that is an enormous competitive advantage. Even the best networker in the world, if they start at 40 years old, will lose out to a smart 17-year-old who applies the power of compound interest to their networking. The factor of time just allows for far more compounding than the 40-year-old will ever have. Reason number 2 that networking is your teenage superpower: ageism. You might have heard of ageism, the idea that people generally don't like old people. There may even be deep evolutionary reasons for this. Old folks, for example, may just not have the energy and vitality to genuinely make your life better. In a cutthroat evolutionary environment where every time you help someone you kind of expect some help back, it just might make less sense to help the elderly. Another reason relates to the time they have left. If you help someone out who's 20, they may have 60 years left to help you out and to develop a mutually beneficial relationship together. You can't say the same for helping a 90-year-old. The result is that older people are often discriminated against in employment, healthcare, media, dating, social interactions. It seems that discriminating against the aged is pretty common across society. But here's the flip side. If people treat old people worse, they treat young people better. This is the other side of the ageism coin, the tendency to want to help the young. This is a particularly acute effect in babies. The baby schema effect describes how, for adults, looking at a baby's face makes them feel warm, positive emotions and makes them want to help that baby out. Now, reverse ageism is also a thing. Young people are often treated as less competent, less trustworthy, and their ideas are often dismissed more than for older people. Nevertheless, the tendency for older people to want to help younger people is a massive benefit in asking for interviews, connections, or advice. And if you're watching this, you probably are a young person. But here's the thing. Do you know what happens to young people over time? They become old people, which means that if you are young right now, this is your chance to seize the power of networking as a teen. And last, reason number 3 that networking is your superpower as a teen: it is steroids for your career. Most people accidentally or incidentally network with the people in their office. And others, like salespeople, might intentionally network with prospects in their industry. And still others will develop a career network by attending trade shows and by doing good work and developing a reputation over time. but almost nobody uses targeted digital networking over the course of decades. The kind of networking that is available to you as a teenager. Imagine, for example, you want to become a hyper-connected cancer researcher. The American Association for Cancer Research has about 58,000 members. If you sent 13 short intro emails every day, from the time you were a high school freshman to the time you graduated with your PhD, you could potentially connect with every active cancer researcher in America. If you sign even 10% of them up to your cancer research newsletter, you will become the most trusted source of insider cancer research news. And that's before you even start working. And if you interview one of these researchers every week on a podcast, you could have 600 long-form, in-depth conversations with America's top cancer researchers. Again, that is before you even graduate with your PhD. Imagine 8 years into this outreach applying to top PhD cancer research programs. Which of these do you think will stand out more on your application? I got straight A's in my science classes and a really good MCAT score. Or, I am literally the most trusted source of cancer research information in the world, and I'm only 21. This applies, by the way, to nearly any industry. In concert with the good ageism that you experience as a young person, and the compound interest you can accrue to your network over time, this kind of digital networking is truly an untapped superpower that you can tune into. Now, in the next guide, I will detail exactly how to network as a teen. But the truth is, I've already made a fairly complete PDF available for download now for free in the description. Alongside that guide, you can also find a sign up for the free weekly How to Have a Good Career newsletter for teens and their parents. And if you know a teen who has no hope for their future, or is confused or lost about what to do next, send them this video. I've been Joel, you've been beautiful, see you next time.